What's happening, YouTube? Jonathan Pariente, the Execution 10 here, coming at you guys with another video. I want to ask you guys to please continue to check and subscribe to my channel for more YouTube videos. So, rounds 2 and 3 have now been completed for the 2020 NFL Draft, and the Jets the other day addressed their first need in the draft. They selected with the number 11 pick Mekhi Becton to help boost up their offensive line and really pretty much assuring that their offensive line was all set. Now they needed to go out in the second round and get a wide receiver. It didn't look good early on. The first two picks, the top two wide receivers of that second round, went off the board. First, it was T. Higgins. He went to the Bengals to start off the second round. And then right after him, the Colts took Michael Pittman Jr. And then eventually, a couple others kind of came off the board. Not the big names of the wide receiving draft, but wide receivers nonetheless. And for a draft pool that had this deep of wide receivers, you had to wonder when were the Jets going to go after and find their man. The Jets had the 48th pick in the second round. And then, I don't know if I was even just imagining it, but the Jets decided to trade down and have the Seahawks take their 48th pick, and the Jets moved 11 spots down to the 59 spot. I'll give Joe Douglas this. That was a ballsy move, because the Jets could have gotten the wide receiver that they eventually did get, but they had to pray that he fell 11 spots to them at number 59, and it worked out. At the end of the day, it worked out, but obviously if it failed, Jet Nation would have been all over Joe Douglas for that decision, or Jet management, however you want to slice it. The Jets ended up taking Denzel Mims, who really, in more ways than one, at this late in the draft of the second round, might be one of the better receivers that they were able to get their hands on, that people really were passing up. They didn't maybe think maybe he was good. But I watched videos of him. 6'3", just a shade under 215 pounds, out of Baylor. If there's one thing I am impressed with, is this guy is very athletic and can make catches in some very difficult situations, and a guy that says he wants the spotlight on him. When have you ever had a wide receiver on the Jets that wanted to be that go-to guy? Well, for Joe Douglas, again, ballsy move, but it paid off. Denzel Mims is now a Jet, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what this young man's going to do. One thing he has a great deal of is speed. Something that the Jets haven't had for a long time at the wide receiver position. Now, Robbie Anderson had a lot of those qualities, but Mims is a guy that's going to go up and catch the ball. And the Jets needed that. Something I felt, as good as Robbie Anderson was, I just don't feel he did that consistently. We're going to see how this move works, but now the Jets have a good, solid 3 wide receivers now that Darnold will get the ball to and can get the ball to consistently. So you have Brashad Perriman, who the Jets just signed. You have Jamison Crowder, a solid slot receiver. Now you add Denzel Mims to be that deep threat. And then the Jets have some solid tight ends to get the ball to now. Ryan Griffin, the ex-Texan. You have Chris Herndon, who's going to come back off being injured. Hopefully he'll be very healthy this year. That will be huge. I mean, look at that weapon you have to throw the ball to there. And then you have some good young receivers to kind of balance out with. Braxton Berrios, who really proved himself on special teams. I think, again, he can be a very decent threat wide receiver also to get the ball to. And then you have Vincent Smith, another ex-Texan that, again, nobody really seemed to believe he was going to be any good, but the Jets saw something in him, and you have Joshua Bellamy. So the Jets have receivers now. And Mims was the final crown jewel of that piece to finish the wide receiver position. So now Darnold has got the weapons to throw to. He's got the offensive lineman, the big man that's going to protect him in Mekhi Becton, with the rest of the front line that Sam has in front of him. Now Darnold has no excuses now. Now Sam can be the quarterback that the Jets believe he can become. Now he has time to throw the ball. He now has Le'Veon Bell to run with, and now he has weapons that now he can use at his disposal. The Jets then ended up going with 2 more picks, and this is what helped the Jets. By trading down, they were then able to pick on the 4th pick of the 3rd round. The Jets went out and drafted Austin Davis, a safety, which I think was an interesting choice. I'm very surprised the Jets. I know the Jets needed help in the secondary. I'm a little surprised they went with a safety. That kind of was raising some questions. Does that mean the Jets are going to try to trade Jamal Adams? I hope not. Jamal Adams absolutely cannot go anywhere. He better stay a Jet. I hope the Jets do everything in their power to make sure he stays here. Now, if Davis is trying to maybe replace Marcus May, I could see that happening. But if he replaces Jamal Adams, I mean, there's going to be an outroar if that happens. But Austin Davis, from videos I've seen of him, he looks like a very good hard-hitting safety. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Jim Leonard. The ex-Raven came to the Jets. He has that type of hard-hitting style to him, and I think the Jets should be really more than happy to have a guy like this to be their other safety. I think that'll be huge. All right, then the Jets picked again in the 3rd round, and they selected a pass rusher for defensive end. They took Jabari Zuniga, a 260-plus pound lineman out of Florida. And, there were maybe some interesting choices with this. There were other options, not as good, but I think Zuniga, Florida has produced great players in the past. And maybe Zuniga, the Jets saw something that he could be a very good edge rusher. We'll see about that. But I like what Joe Douglas has done throughout this draft to get the pieces. And again, I give him credit for how he took that move to trade down, was still able to get his wide receiver that he wanted, and then literally just maybe, 5 or 6 picks later, then he goes out and gets Davis, and then he gets Zuniga later on. The Jets still have a few more picks to go in the 4th, 5th, and 6th round, which will be, again, it's shoring up the back end of what the Jets need, just getting some other components. But Joe Douglas has done a great job addressing the pieces the Jets needed. And more importantly, I like that he gets good character players, something the Jets really need on this team for them to go in a new direction and to be this prolific powerhouse that they maybe could now become in the AFC East. Not saying it will be easy, though. The AFC East as a whole, now that Brady is gone, has gotten a lot more competitive now. While the Jets were making their picks, Miami made picks. They got their new quarterback of the future in Tua. Don't know if he's going to start right away, but Tua is going to be a threat in that AFC East for some time. People are comparing him to Drew Brees with a left hand. That's pretty scary. The Bills beefed up their defense a little bit more with the draft, and Josh Allen is their quarterback of the future. We've already seen a hint of what Buffalo could become down the road, so they're not a joke anymore. The Jets obviously now adding their pieces now to boost up their offensive line, their defense, and their offense now. We'll see what New England's doing. They've getting more linebackers. They're really kind of, again, going after defense more in this draft. So this is going to be a very interesting upcoming season, should we have one. COVID-19 and all that. But I like where the Jets are now heading. Now it's time to see if Sam Darnold can make all those pieces that he now has at his disposal work for him. We're going to find out very, very soon. Are the Jets finally turning that corner? Because they finally made the moves that other general managers with the Jets never did. Thank God for Joe Douglas right now. Let's see where the Jets go further now from here. Jonathan Perriente, The Education 10, saying bye for now.